am never visiting Vietnam again. So let's just go ahead and roll the clip of the oohs and ahs before we get into the story time. January, approximately around January 6th, I decided that that was going to be my time to do my very first border run. Now, if you don't know what a border run is, a lot of us do that. A lot of us expats do that, even though it's very much frowned upon. So basically, when you enter the Kingdom of Thailand as a U.S. citizen, you come in on a visa exemption, which means that you do not have to have a visa for your first 60 days when you come into the kingdom, and then you can extend that for an additional 30 days to pay your fees at immigration, you get your paperwork together, pay your fees. You can extend it. But at the end of that 90 days, because it gives you a total of 90 days, you are responsible for exiting the Kingdom of Thailand. Doesn't matter how you do it, you either go or you get hit with those fees. So, or more fees, I should say. So, I chose Vietnam. There's two ways you can do a border run. The first one is by ground, which is, I don't want to say it's simple because I've never done it. I've only done by air, which is how I went over to Vietnam. But that one is more of a quick turnaround. You just go to specific borders because you can't just pick a place and just go. You have to go through specific borders, cross, come back, and then get a new entry into the kingdom on the visa extension. So that's how people are getting like at least a minimum 6 months of being in the Kingdom of Thailand visa free, right? You are to utilize that time to figure out your visa situation. It is very frowned upon with immigration. It causes a lot of people problems. Don't abuse the system. It's not going to go very well for you. The second option is to go via plane. So when you go via plane and you go and visit another country for some time, it makes it a lot easier when it comes to having to deal with immigration, your visa stamps, just makes it easier. Against my better judgment, I went to Vietnam, and I could have went to Malaysia, the Philippines. I could have went to Laos. Could have went to Cambodia. I did not go to Cambodia for the same exact reasons of why I will never go back to Vietnam. Now, there was a couple reasons or contributing factors as to why I chose Vietnam. Number one, I had an old co-worker that I was really, really cool with back when we were both paramedics. I'm not actively working as a paramedic anymore. She's not an active paramedic anymore. She's a nurse now. We used to work together, and she's from Vietnam. So she was like, hey, my family's having a family reunion. Are you still in Thailand? It would be really cool if we would link up. And I'm like, you know what? That would make me more comfortable going over to Vietnam because my spidey senses is already tingling and telling me not to go. So I was like, okay, cool. I'm willing to do that. But also, I've always been really drawn to Bali. And I was like, well, let me go to Bali. Or let me consider it. However, Bali has this weird thing where there's like pockets of time periods where people go missing. Here's the thing about that. It's very unfortunate that foreigners go to different countries, and it doesn't matter if it's a place in Southeast Asia where the countries get a black eye from people going missing. Well, reality is that a lot of people hate their family, and they're utilizing that as an opportunity to sever ties with their family members. And so according to their family, they've gone missing, when in reality, they just don't want to deal with their family anymore, and that's their escape. Additionally, this is why I try to tell people that everywhere you go, there you are. Because you have people who are coming over to different countries where they suffer from mental health issues. They have alcohol and drug addictions. Okay? Wherever you go, there you are. This is why I highly recommend my ultimate guide to Thailand. And in addition to that, do your research as well, because a lot of the countries, if you take medications, they may not be available in those other countries. It doesn't matter if it's Thailand or not. In some countries, some of your medications that's legal in America is illegal in those other countries. Some people willingly decide not to take their medication, and then there are some others who think that I am fine, I'm okay, which is really, really characteristic of people who have mental health issues. They come over here, all is great, all is grand, I'm in this very happy and good space, I'm gonna stop taking my medication, and then boom, you have another crisis, okay? And you could be in a mental health facility somewhere, or a hospital, or in jail, because again, you're in a different country and they don't know that you have mental health issues. Medical alert bracelets and things like that, even if it's not a mental health issue, it's a medical issue, because diabetes is another medical condition that mimics mental health issues. That medical alert bracelet or tattoo, isn't going to be applicable outside of your home country. So keep that in mind. And then also, people, their addictions follow them when it comes to drugs and alcohol. You get into trouble. You end up in rehab facilities. You end up locked up. You end up shipped out of the country. In addition to that, people do get mixed up with the girlies over here, the party scene. You cannot bring your ideologies and what's the typical attitude, radical free speech and all the other stuff, especially with the Westerners, over in other countries. Listen, the Thai people are kind, but do not take their kindness for weakness, because a hit can get put out on you for $30 USD. You can go missing for $30. With that being said, around that particular time, there was a pocket of people who had gone missing, and it was like only one person, because I'm always in the travel groups. I may not look like I'm active in travel, but I be watching. There was a pocket of people who had went missing. Only one person had been missing for like over 6 months or something like that. So I was like, you know what, this really doesn't feel good to me. I'm not gonna go to Bali. So I just guess I gotta go to Vietnam. As soon as you get over there, you feel the trauma of that country. I like to let people know all the time in every single video, my move to Thailand, Southeast Asia in general, was spiritual based. I am a very strong empath. I felt the shift before I got off the plane. When I actually got on the plane onto the land, it was even more evident that, oh my God, the bloodshed on the land really does matter. Vietnam is still a communist country. Now, here's a little travel tidbit that I want to tell people, because Grab is the equivalent to our United States Uber, right? You will have, and this happens in Thailand too, you will have people who are not authorized users or drivers employed through the Grab app, and they'll show you a screenshot. Say, hey, you looking for a taxi? Hey, you looking for a Grab, or whatever the case may be, and they'll just show you the screenshot to make it appear that they're affiliated with them, and in reality, they're not. They're going to rip you off. I feel like this is not talked about enough, because this is also a safety issue. And honestly, if I had not already been in Thailand for some months prior to me going to Vietnam, I probably would have easily fell for the same scheme. They're aggressive over there when it comes to that. I'm talking about, like, I had this huge window in between my the time I could check in to my actual hotel and by the time I got off the plane. So I had to sit there. They do not care. They're going to harass you, or like sneak and harass you around the military police that's in the airport. You know what I'm saying? Like, it got so bad to the point where it didn't matter if I had on my big old headphones. It didn't matter my laptop typing. It didn't matter if I was physically going inside of like a restaurant that was like kind of ducked off and you can go inside and tuck away in there. It didn't matter, because they were coming in there and they were aggressive. They were aggressive. Now, they did leave me alone by the time I finally found me a little pocket corner to go into, but it was still like the military police will come around and they know that they're not supposed to be doing what they're doing, and they'll just kind of slide, but then they'll try to sneak and talk to you anyway as soon as they turn their head. It was very, very intimidating. As a woman that's traveling by myself, right? Keep in mind, in addition to Thailand, Vietnam is considered a safe place to travel. However, petty theft and just thievery in general is more common than the violent crimes, right? So it was overwhelming, and I didn't like that. I promise you, I sat in that little corner until it was time for me to order my Grab. When I ordered my Grab, boom, got my shit. Bing, 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 bing. I didn't waste no time, babes. I didn't waste no time. I did not like it. The vibe and the energy was just totally off. So the first place I went to was Hanoi, which is considered in the north, and a couple things happened. First and foremost, I had a good time in Hanoi. It was very, very overwhelming, okay? Like, Thailand is so safe-faced, and they're so kind, and like the traffic here will stop and allow you to cross the street. Vietnam, they're gonna run you over, okay? And it is not even like the United States. They're gonna run you over there. And there's really no streets there, so I've really never been to a place where the cars, the trucks, the little mobile restaurant, the little stall vendor people, and you, like, you're all the traffic. Like, you're all just, you're traffic. I got my nice little hotel, you know, it was everything that it needed to be. It was so cute and everything. And also they had their tours there. So the only thing I had to do was go down to the reception and talk to them. They sat down with me next to me on the couch. They're just like, oh, we have this tour, this tour. The tour bus comes to the hotel, like we're literally right in front of it, and you get on, you know, the whole tour. The food was included, you know, you got your excursions and everything. Hanoi was a good time. I got to go to Ha Long Bay, which I'm a movie buff. I'm a really big movie buff, so I was really, really excited to see where they actually filmed King Kong Skull Island. And I ended up going on a very, very beautiful day, because from what I'm hearing from other people who have visited, it is normally, because the pollution is so heavy there, it's like this heavy hint of fog of pollution, and you don't get the good pictures and the views and the videos the way that I did. And I was grateful that I got to do that. I ended up making a friend, actually two friends. One person was from, he's from Estonia, but he's living in Thailand, and he's been here for some time. And then the other girl, she was just here visiting. She was on her way to, she was actually Chinese, and she was visiting to like with a friend or something for a birthday party or something like that. Really made some connections, which is the amazing, beautiful thing about solo travel. I was really disappointed that I listened to other people that said, oh, you'll need a couple days to be there, because honestly, well, maybe I guess in Hanoi, but even the receptionist at my hotel, they're just like, oh, so many people don't want to stay here. We have so much to offer here. And I'm like, you know what? I'll be back. I didn't go back. But I'm like, you know what? I believe you, because I had a really, really, really good time in Hanoi. Really wish I could have had the opportunity to go to Sapa, which is a little further up north. However, please be aware that if you come to Vietnam around this time, it is winter, and they actually have winter. Like, it was cold. Okay, I came from Thailand. Like, I have stuff like this that I wear all the time, you know. No ma'am, no sir. I needed a jean. I needed a long sleeve. At least one, and I need like a little puffer vest or something that I could just, you know, throw over. You gotta be able to layer. I just really wish I had more time to really go, even though I was grossly unprepared. I would have froze in Sapa, because apparently there was like frost and snow and like icicles on trees and shit there. I would have froze. So I still just would have had a good time. But here's where, as a guy on TikTok said, where it gets wicked. And confirms that I will forever solo travel. People in my past, majority of them in my past. And the fact that everybody wants to be grown until it's time to communicate. Because let me tell you something. By the time I got to Ho Chi Minh City, which is now which is the old Saigon, I was making communications with my friends. I ended up having to book like another hotel, which was fine because we had kind of made an agreement anyway before we both took off, even though we landed there at different times, is that, hey, listen, we can split the hotel rooms, and, you know, you can stay with me, I can stay with you, and then when, you know, hopefully, you know, I don't mind doing that because when I come to Thailand, because she wanted to come to Thailand, I can stay with you in your Airbnb, because at the time I was still in Airbnb, babes, never again. Never. Because the lack of communication was just crazy. By the time I went to Ho Chi Minh City, it was a vast difference from being in Hanoi. You could tell you was in the South. I'm talking about drug deals on the street. The traffic was crazy. I'm pretty sure the national anthem in Vietnam is the horn. Okay, little motorbike horn, all day, every day. All day, every day, okay? It was the first time in a long time, and I grew up in a hood, that I had a drug deal go down right in front of me, and it was two foreigners. I'm just like, damn, y'all just out here like this? Y'all don't even care? Damn, these people will get you. So I get to Ho Chi Minh City. I get to my hotel. I don't like my hotel because it does not look as it was advertised. It's not bad. It wasn't bad. Don't get me wrong. I did not stay in a single place that was terrible at all. It just was not as advertised. Like, it was supposed to be a whole rooftop bar. You went to the rooftop. The rooftop had not been open since forever. And then it didn't say that it was in, like, on top of a spa. So you got all this traffic in and out because there's literally, like, you're literally staying inside of a spa or whatever. But it wasn't bad. It was nice and quiet, whatever the case may be. Let my friend know, or my coworker, let her know what was going on. She said, okay, cool. I don't plan on staying with my family. I could just stay with you. Okay, we made those arrangements. That's fine. She doesn't want to be, let's go do our own thing before I'm stuck with my family. Have to do, okay, cool, tight, dope, whatever. I go get something to eat because I'm intimidated by being there. And right across from where I was eating at this rooftop restaurant is like a little tour place. Tour guides, just like in Thailand, just like in any other place, it's a really big thing. So I said, okay, well, let me just go and see if I can find a little tour for me to go on, because we got there at different times and I got a whole 24 hours by myself. Okay, go across the street, let me look at the tours. Can I do something that's only gonna be like a day, maybe 8 hours? You know, we don't gotta get crazy. So we do this one tour. I forget the official name of it, but we're going on the Viet Cong Delta. So it's like, okay, we're gonna pick you up your hotel. It's like the whole same spiel when I was in Hanoi. Vastly different. Get on the tour. They come and get me the first day, and tour guide was really nice, really nice. Let us know up front, hey, all the locals that we have along this tour, they've already been paid. If you do tip, it's out of the kindness of your heart. Don't feel compelled to tip. Like, okay, cool. The whole tour felt like it was set up for us to tip. Now, as much as I want to be angry at the people for how they conduct themselves, I have to tone down my ego and my upset of what happened and contributed to the fact that they had lived under strict communist rule until 1993. So we're talking about 30 years, which it sounds like it's so far away, when in reality, when you have been exposed to so much trauma for such a long time, and it's the epigenetics, when things are just passed down from generation to generation to generation, and for them, because they just have no choice. I mean, they're still functioning under martial law. Like, they have a curfew at midnight. Like, nobody in the country is allowed to be on the road past midnight. You have to have papers. Okay, I didn't see a single police there because there's military on the street. It just kind of sucks to be victim of circumstance, not because, oh, we're bad, shitty people, you know, like the propaganda we have been fed for such a long time that has also been passed down to us in Western countries from generation to generation to generation. The tour almost felt like a setup because they were very aggressive despite already being paid, wanting more. Now, mind you, Vietnam is a way more affordable than Thailand, and Thailand is pretty damn affordable. Okay, just keep that in mind. Everything was cool until we got into like the little bamboo boats. They weren't the coconut spin boats that you see, because that was in Da Nang. I'm gonna get to that in a minute, because I did go to Da Nang also. But we were on the Viet Cong Delta, and so we get into this boat. We're just like ferry boat, ferry boat, ferry boat. You literally jumping from one thing to the other because it's underdeveloped. It's not even as developed as Thailand is, which people complain about. You know, there's so much Western influence in Thailand, which we brought it, okay? And the kingdom allowed it, so yeah. Ugh. I get in the boat. I'm the darkest thing going on the boat, okay? And the lady gives me a pedal, and she was like, oh yeah, you do. So there's a person on the back pedaling, person on the front pedaling. I'm right behind the first person pedaling. She gives me and I'm just like, oh, okay, yeah, this is cool. Yeah, she's like, yeah, really good. I'm like, yeah, okay, so, oh shit, I'm pedaling the whole way? Or, oh, all right, well, why can't y'all pedal? Why I got the pedal? I'm on the black person on the boat. Why I got a pedal? So I'm like, whatever. She was like, yeah, we're number one. Baby, by the time we got to the end of like the little greenery, that's when they stopped and started shaking us down. The lady turned around and she was just like, you money, tip, you give money, tip. And I was just like, I'm not giving you anything. You literally put me to work and tried to put it off as a part of the tourist experience that I ain't never signed up for. And now you want to demand money out of me? I ain't giving y'all shit. Like, no. Okay, here's the problem. Because once they realized that none of us was coming out of our money for pocket for money, they literally stopped pedaling. So we're in this boat idling in the Viet Cong Delta, and there's like the dock area, and they're just like, well, we're not going anywhere. So the girls behind me, they get nervous and they started pulling out money. So I'm like, okay, cool, let me pass up their money here, let me get some money, whatever. So they started pedaling. Baby, as soon as we got close to that dock, I almost fell in the damn Viet Cong Delta trying to get out that boat, because first of all, you're not gonna shake me down. It was something visceral and ancestral that hit my ass when you put me out there on that water. Now, don't get me wrong, I can swim. When you put me out on that water, you thought you was gonna shake me down for money, because that's not how you do things, right? So I'm the first one to jump out of the whole boat, and I'm pulling the girls in, like, get out the boat, get out the boat, get out the boat. And, you know, they're just happy, and so one girl still goes, man, put that shit in your damn bag. Get out the boat, get out the boat. And even when I got out the boat, the lady still, like, with her hand on, I'm like, I'm not giving you shit, because this is not how you go about things. I don't care. We know that you already paid, you know, hey, I'm at safety, because at this point, even if she did decide to not pedal, it was either I'm going into the Viet Cong Delta and I'm swimming to the deck, or I'm going to push you over and I'm going to take your pedal in your boat. But hey, you can't really do that. That's the whole thing, where you go to these different countries and you realize, like, I am the outsider here, and you get a full understanding of what community actually is, because at the end of the day, you are the outsider. They are going to team up against you. They are right, you are wrong. It doesn't matter how wrong they are, and it actually really sucks. And it it allows me to look from a different perspective when people say, I would never live someplace where I'm a second class citizen and I don't have any rights and this, that, and the other. And then it's just like, okay, well, this makes me really kind of think about maybe possibly how foreigners feel in other countries, or in our country, in America. But at the same token, it's just like, I don't think that we don't take their word for things or take their side if they were actually the one in the right. Where here, it doesn't matter, you're outsider, you're a foreigner, you're just wrong. You're just wrong. You're wrong. In addition to that, if they owe you any kind of change, all of a sudden they don't know how to talk to you. They will take your money real quick and just walk off and not try to give you any change. And I mean, they will go so far as to reach their hands into your wallet and take your money and take more than they know that they're supposed to be taking. Because this also happened to my friend and her mother, who, again, they're from Vietnam. This happened to them as well. And even my friend's mother was just like, hey, you know, I'm scared of my own people, because they look at me as the outsider because I left. Her family left during the wartime, so they like escaped, and so they say, well, they look at me different, you know, and I don't feel safe around them, and these are my people, and da 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 da. So it's really kind of disheartening. It also gives me a different perspective on life in general, because as Americans, we think that we're not free. when we don't have certain freedoms that other countries have, as far as like universal health care that's free to all the people, you know, making sure that our people have places to live and things like that. But we are under communist rule, and that was like the biggest takeaway. In addition to that, it is very humbling to see in 2025 that there are countries in the world that still don't have access to clean water, because the Vietcong Delta that we were boating in and the fisher boats was going in, that's the same water that they used to cook with and used to drink, and they have to filter it in order to clean it. The tour guide was telling me how they were afraid of China and how it wouldn't be like a boots on the ground war, that China will cut off their water supply because it would literally tank them, and that they're in a position to where sometimes they have to choose whether they're going to be able to have rice and grow rice versus having clean water to drink. And it really frustrates me with America. For us to be a country that is very developed the way that we are developed, there's no reason why Flint should not still have clean water. There's no reason. But again, America's built on racism, and they really hate poor people. It doesn't matter what color you are, what nationality you are, they really hate poor people. So it's just really disheartening, because there's no reason. When you go to other parts of the world and you see like, no, you legit don't have access to clean water because there's no infrastructure in your country. And also, Vietnam is also not, they're getting away from saying third world and saying developing. I can see Vietnam being like a Thailand in maybe like 10 years, but they're not as built up as Thailand. Like, it's so humbling to see that and to know that and to understand that these are people's lives. So as much as I want to be very, very angry about what happened to us on that Vietcong Delta and being treated that way, it's a survivalist mentality they have, and that's why they do it, even though it's not okay. Because in order for them to finally be able to make money, they're going to have to accept the tourism, not just from Americans, but from everybody all across the world, in order to get that infrastructure and build up the way they deserve it, because the people deserve it. They deserve it. They are very kind. I still love them because they have their grit. And it seems to like the little ghetto girl in my heart, okay, that they still have their grit. Whereas Thailand, they're very kind, but they're very, let's say, fake. Anyway, I was so pissed off. I was ready to leave Vietnam. I did end up bonding with two of the girls that I was on the boat. We ended up having a really good time. We went back to the city center with the tour guide, dropped us off, which was District 1 where I was staying. We did some shopping in the infamous Ho Chi Minh market. That's where you go get the hair, y'all, in Vietnam. That's where you go get the hair. It's Ho Chi Minh. And also, and I'm sure there are other places around there, but I gotta find out where they are. And also, like, we ended up going to this cute little restaurant, hanging out. We made friends, and this is just like the theme of probably every solo traveler's experience, or travelers in general experiences, that you meet so many amazing people when you decide to step outside your glass house and to go see the world. And you always have to part ways with some amazing people, but those friendships do last forever, because I have, for the most part, exchange numbers with, or WhatsApp with, pretty much, except for almost everybody that I met, because the vibe has just always been there. But then let me tell you where the bullshit really got thick in Da Nang, and you're gonna have to come back for part 2. And I promise I'm not gonna wait 2 weeks to post part 2, because I need to get this content out of my phone. Okay, take care of that stuff. Because we're already at 30 minutes. We're already at 30 minutes, and I know TikTok destroyed all of our attention span. So yeah, part 2 coming up. We're gonna talk about Da Nang.